Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Tradesman Experience. This is the podcast built by tradesmen for tradesmen. My name is Josh, and in the virtual studios of course, Mr. Nate Newton. Nate, how are you, sir?
Fucking busy, man. Just a lot of operational changes around here, and a lot of moving parts, a lot of moving people. Changes in roles, responsibilities, and expectations, and just a lot. So on the administrative and operational side.
What's the workflow been like? I know I talked to a lot of contractors and stuff, and historically coming into February is slow, but I also know that last year was tough for a lot of people and a lot of businesses.
We had so much shit stacked up that just the residual on projects has kept us. I mean, we started off January. I'm all done with my billing for January, and we had a really good month. But because custom homes take 2 years to build, so we did all the structural stuff, and then now we're doing all the ornamental. But as far as larger scale commercial, I mean, even the custom home market's been slow. That we're starting to see a lot more RFPs coming out right now. But so I think the year's ended, the election went the way it did. We have consumer confidence. A lot of people are talking about rates are going to start coming down a bit. So, I don't think we won't get anywhere near what COVID rates were, of course, but if we can get closer to 5%, I think that, on an investment side, you'll start seeing a lot more of these, multifamily unit things popping off. There's been some public work stuff come out, but that market's been dead too. Not a ton, especially on the steel side. I don't know about every other side, but there hasn't been a ton going on. I think the judicial building or the Capitol, there's a big addition going on over there, but I'm not seeing any really big shit right now. The problem with it is that there's a lot of these multifamily unit investment things. We'll never do them again. I have zero desire to work in those markets. It's cutthroat as fuck. You get sued half the time. You don't get paid. I just, when it comes to dealing with these investors, they do everything they can to fuck the contractor out of money. And so I have no desire to be involved in it. I turn them all down, but there's a lot of those that have come out to bid 4 or 5 times. They've been cost value engineered. These guys just keep testing the water with it to see where it's at. And it's how many people I think one of those things that frustrates me the most about this industry is that we have allowed there to be a standard that we estimate for free. I find that to be horseshit. Well, how the fuck did we get here? Too much fucking time, energy, and all that shit that goes into putting a bid together, and we're doing it for free. Dude, especially those big multifamily units. I'm the only estimator. I'm training Becker right now, but for me to go through a fucking 8-building apartment complex, find all the railings, all the structural, all the stairs, if they're 3 stories or whatever, a lot of it's plug and play. I can see that. But dude, I got a week or 2 into those things with 0 revenue produced by it. Why is that an overhead cost in this industry? I don't fucking understand that.
I don't either. There's always been a debate on charging for estimates. I think that there should be you should charge for design for sure. But yeah, there's always been a debate for charging for estimates, and you can find evidence to support both sides. I wish everybody charged for estimates. Honestly, I wish that was the standard.
Yeah, it should be. I mean, we're doing the work, and so I mean, dude, as a contractor, if you're general, you can pick and choose who you fucking, you got your top players, you got people that are going to deliver solid numbers. You can choose to send it to those guys, but fucking pay them for it, because I think that could be something predatory that was there, that you could find these outfits that all they did was bid on shit and never landed a fucking job. They just ran around and put estimates in and got paid for them, But I mean, I think if you're within 20% of other numbers, you could set up some sort of a uh like a payment scale. Like
Mhm.
if we have these four numbers that are all within 20% of each other, then you guys get paid for that. But if somebody just slapped a number together, way overbid it, way underbid it, whatever, it's something you're going to discard anyway, then don't pay those people. I don't know. It's just
Mhm.
spitballing, but I'm tired of doing shit for free.
There's a lot of time, so much time involved in estimating, design, proposals, um, re researching, conversations. I mean, there's hours and hours and hours and hours, depending on the project of how much time that you spend. So I wish that that was something that was standardized,
Mhm,
is that there was some type of expectation, even if you have 10 hours in it, and if your proposal fee is a flat fee of 250 bucks, 500 bucks, something, at least there's some revenue being produced for the
mhm.
work that you're providing. If it's not necessarily, if you've got 10 hours and you're billing it out at your shop rate, and that's your, but I agree. I think that there should be some and maybe the industries will move forward to that. That goes back to subcontractors all competing at the same level instead of fighting with each other.
Mhm. Yeah, that's the thing, and I mean, if we're all out here cutting each other's throats,
Mhm.
like that. I mean, I see that shit all the time. I just lost out on a fucking house with what I mean, it's a builder that we use religiously. That we've done all of his steel work, and then they're dealing with some investment homes in Clear Creek, and we got outbid by another local guy. And I'm like, dude, and I know who the investors are, and I'm like, we can have it for that price.
Mhm.
Go ahead. Yeah. You might not even get paid. So I I was nervous about the job to begin with. So it's like, because I've dealt with them before and it didn't go well. But I knew that there was going to be a buffer of this really good home builder. So I'm like, I'm not dropping my price. So just go with the other guy. So
Well, that's smart too.
mhm,
Otherwise, you are buying the job, and you're also telling your client that, oh, well, we can afford to drop our price in this scenario,
mhm.
but not in any other case for you. It's like, well, wait a minute.
That's the new standard.
Why is my price the price? And this is, you can afford to take this job on. So
Mhm,
it sends mixed messages to your clients. You have to have that consistency and that standard across the board.
mhm.
And if you get outbid, obviously there's some relational equity that can come into play through conversation, but just to drop your price up front to try to match a bid, it's a terrible idea.
Yeah, I'm not doing that shit I never really did do it to begin with. Um, but one thing that I I've been really good about lately, for one, I say no to shit that I know we shouldn't be doing. But for
Good for
two,
you.
yeah, it's hard. It's hard. But when I'm going through these plan sets, dude, if I have a bad feeling about it, I estimate off my gut now. Now that I've had two jobs over the last 2 years that just absolutely kicked me in the fucking face, if I don't feel good about it, because both of those jobs I didn't feel good about them and they both fucking wrecked me. And so now I get these bid sets and it's that chase and shiny shit thing. I'll see it and I'm like, something's not right here. And I'm just avoiding it. And Becca and Zach have both questioned it. They're like, well, why aren't we going after that? I'm like, doesn't feel right,
Mhm.
you know? And that's just call it superstition, call it what you will, but I
It's
mean,
called intuition,
yeah.
not
And
superstition.
I'm not ignoring that shit anymore.
Every time I ignored it, it cost me a bunch of money.
Hmm.
And I mean, I know of specific examples and specific clients where I would advise my sales team. I wasn't going to necessarily control them and tell them what to do, but when they would review these jobs for me, same thing, my intuition, I think you should walk away from it.
Hmm.
I'm not telling you that you have to, but I'm advising that you walk away from it, and they sell it anyway, and 100% of the time we lose.
Hmm.
And the intuition that comes with experience and time and confidence and failure and all of those things combined, but your intuition is never wrong.
No, and quit trying to put fucking metrics to it. Quit trying to fucking understand it from a scientific scale. It's just the universe trying to help you out here. As fucking hippie as that is to say.
It's the same thing with people, and
Yeah.
intuition varies, from person to person. But when you meet an individual, if you get that ping in the back of your head that something's not right, you need to listen to that,
Mhm.
to listen to that voice and walk away from opportunity with that individual because it's not going to end well.
Yep. That's the thing. It's probably not an opportunity.
Mm. It's an opportunity for them.
Yeah, exactly.
They're going to take advantage, and they're going to put you in a position to lose,
Mhm.
and
Yeah,
then
and
you're
I
going to
I
be pissed
mean,
off.
after 8 years of this and, going through the things that we've gone through, the pains of growth and all that, there's absolutely sharks in these waters, but they don't look like sharks. Like the people that fuck you the hardest are the ones that come off as, like, oh, that's an awesome guy, or that's an awesome outfit, that's those are the people that are fucking you in the long run, you know. And you gotta be mindful of it. Just because somebody has a smile on doesn't mean their intentions are pure. Look at Gavin Newsom.
They've just gotten really good at masking it.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
have a family member that I grew up uh, losing in every opportunity that came up with that family member. Sometimes I'm a fast learner. I'm a fast learner, slow grower. So uh,
Sounds like your sex life.
yeah, pretty much. And I would get, and then friends that I had that have businesses, and they would come in. I would advise them not to do it. You're gonna get screwed over.
Mhm.
And 100% of the time, that individual was the victim. The person that was performing the work was the problem,
Mhm.
and they wouldn't get paid. And I've even seen this individual, this is no joke. I've seen this individual give a money-making opportunity to their son, and at the end, take 50% of that money from their son.
Wow.
As a finder fee, be like, "Well, I helped you get that job," and would give me half of it. Straight up, like, that's a true story. And there's many, many stories around that individual that I have witnessed and
I'm pretty
been.
sure I know who you're talking about.
You
So
do, you know exactly what I'm talking about, so
asshole.
yeah, but that intuition is interesting. There's a book called 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. It's one of the best leadership books ever written, and John Maxwell wrote it, and he said, "Out of the 21 laws, 20 of them can be learned. The one law that can't be inherently learned is the law of intuition,
Mm,
because it's different for everybody. Some people are really terrible at reading other people.
mhm,
They have low intuition, high naivety, but it's different for everyone. So that's the one law that you can't look at and say, I'm going to build my intuition muscle. It's
mhm.
just it's going to grow as it grows.
Yeah. I mean, I think that that's something I've gotten better at over the years. It's you see cause and effect, right? And you see how things fall out. And honestly, I think that I've made it as far as I have because I am good with people. That's been a skill that I've just inherently had. Uh, but learning to spot the sharks, that's
Mhm.
it's a built skill that you have where you're like, one of the beautiful upsides of severe ADHD is pattern recognition, and it just comes naturally. And you start seeing what people do, not what they say. You're like, ah, ha,
Mhm.
ha, yeah, okay.
If someone is really excited about helping you win, I get I'm put off by that just a little bit. If someone is helping me, asking me how we can win, that's a little more attractive to me,
Hmm.
because if you're focusing on me, I think that you're going to take.
Yep.
If you're willing to have a conversation that involves both of us winning, then
Hmm.
that's a different conversation. Not to say that that's a simple metric to measure, but
Yeah.
the type of people that we're talking, man, Nate, I've got this really good opportunity for you. I think it'll help elevate your business. You guys will make a lot of money. It'll help get you in front of other contractors. It'll help your networking.
Hmm.
If you're selling me something that you are selling as everything is a success for me,
Hmm.
probably not buying.
Yep. Don't buy it. Yep. Or the, like, oh, this will lead to more work. Like a
Oh,
contractor's like, hey, hook me up on this one. And this will land those other two that you have out for bid right now. It's like, no.
mm-mm.
Now, yeah, how about you just I know our price is good. You know what you get with us. I know we're not the cheapest, but you understand the value. That's why I'm here right now. You've already submitted this bid with my number. That's the one you took. Nothing needs to be shaved off the top. You already
Mhm.
have it approved. You're trying to stuff your own pocket, so go fuck yourself.
We would fall into that in home builders, spec builders especially, which spec builders learned pretty fast that we were way out of their margins.
Mhm.
They didn't we were a custom company. I had no interest in spec, but they would try that, "Hey, we're building this neighborhood, give us a price on this one and we'll make sure that you get the others." And what I would tell them is, "You buy it at my price on this one, and if we like working together, then we'll negotiate moving forward."
Right. Yeah. Hey, that's a very simple solution to that conversation, right? If you give us a good price, we'll get you all this other ones. I'm like, I didn't make
Mhm.
any money on the first one.
Why
Why
do
would
I
I
want a
want the
bunch of
rest of them?
I don't want a bunch of work at a
Yeah.
discount
Right.
price.
Yeah.
No, no. But yeah, it's always interesting. I'm really excited to see what's gonna go on this year. I think what you said, the consumer confidence is up, which increases consumer buying and decision making. I think it's gonna be a good year for some companies. We have to get through February. Again, historically, January, February, especially in the service-based industries, February is terrible.
Mhm.
So, I'm looking forward to the spring of a lot of things really kicking off.
Yeah. I mean, February is usually a heavy bid area for us. That's when a lot of stuff starts rolling out. Like the holidays are done. People have had January to get their shit together, and then those big RFPs start rolling out in February. So, fingers crossed for that shit. But I'm also like, I kind of don't want to do anything over like 500,000 right now.
Mhm.
Like
Are
half
you
a million
starting
sounds
to
like a good.
find you're starting to find your lane, like your project lane?
Yeah, I mean, ish. So now that we have three crews, we have a structural crew, an ornamental crew, and a floater crew that jumps back and forth between those two.
Plus a shop crew, right? Fabrication crew?
They all kind of rotate in and out of the
Okay.
shop. I mean, I got 13 employees right now,
Mhm.
so um, if I land a couple more, if I land two more houses, I'll put a full time fab team in the shop. It's hard to set that up right now, just with the uncertainty of the market.
Mhm.
There's as much as there is consumer confidence, there is still a lot of volatility in this market right now, and so that's the thing is it either goes one way or the other. It's either going to be really fucking good, which let's not write off a collapse.
Mhm.
There's been a lot of inflation. There's been a lot of we're not out of the fucking woods with this stuff. It doesn't fix overnight because Donald
Mhm.
Trump got elected. So as far as my lane is concerned, I I've the only multi-million dollar bid I have out right now is for a school in Virginia City. And that's 1.5 million, but it's a small school. It's a K through 8 in Virginia City. There's like 5 fucking kids in that fucking town. It's an alcohol driven fucking mining town.
Mhm.
Hmm?
Mhm.
Great place to get a DUI here.
And, I mean, I lived up there for 2 years, so very aware, very familiar with the culture.
Yeah. So like that one with it being public works and it's Story County, I think for me, it's knowing who the players are. And like if Pinecrest were to bring me something that was 1.5 million, I'd do it.
Mm.
Uh Miles Construction with um Story County, I'd do it. There's a couple other big swing and dick outfits that have just moved into the area that I'm not 100% bought on, like, keep it 500,000 and under. But I mean, where we really shine is like 250 to 400,000. That, on the custom home market where the profit margins are right, like that's where we thrive the most,
Mhm.
where I can leave a crew of fucking three dudes with a crane for fucking 2-3 weeks at a time, setting steel, working side by side with framers. And then our ornamental crews are fucking four houses down, putting in, you know, uh, railings and chimney caps and shit like that. Like that's the lane I want to be in. but I do realize that we do need to grow a little bit also. But my focus is more on refining what we have right now and we're good at, because I don't think that growth is going to put me in a better spot right now.
Efficiency. So, growth and expansion. The mistake that a lot of businesses make is they get so focused on growth that they deny internal efficiency. So you have
Mhm,
to grow, streamline, grow, streamline,
mhm.
grow, streamline.
Yeah, it's not a bell curve.
No.
It's yeah. You gotta. I mean, fuck, dude. Just even having 13 employees is a lot. Like, and your delegation process is fucking everything at that point. You got to make sure you got the right people in the right places, that they know exactly what their job is and they can execute that. Cause like, Zach's our superintendent, and I had to pull him aside one day and I was like, hey, dude, like you were at this one project all day yesterday and you were there with your foreman. Like, I need you to be overseeing all of these projects. And I understand that something needed to be figured out on this one, but that's John's job. Once the material is on site and we are operating, that is your foreman's responsibility. Your responsibility is to be out in front. And I saw it click with him. He's like, "Oh shit. Okay, that's
Mhm,
right," because I hadn't voiced it before.
mhm. And that was also
And
his previous role.
correct,
So
yeah.
it
He
was
was
easy
just
for
a
him
foreman,
to
yeah.
fall into that
Yeah,
previous role.
right. And I'm like, "No, you have much more difficult things to go deal with right now."
Like, 1, keep Nate happy.
Right, yeah.
Like, you know, because he's the direct line from you to the team, right?
Right.
Everything that you close on gets passed to him directly, him and
Mhm.
Becca. And
And the way I look at it is I lead two people here.
mhm,
I lead Zach and I lead Becca. Though, and those are very high functioning, high performing people that require a lot of leadership. And so there's a lot of conversations that are had. There's a lot of small impromptu meetings of like, here's what I'm seeing, and getting them to understand conceptually of why I want things done a certain way, or better yet, what the overall goal of what we're
mhm,
doing is, so that way they can make better decisions and have more right to their decision.
mhm,
And so it's been a very interesting shift in the structure of the organization right
mhm,
now. It's for the better, dude, and things are getting done. We're moving much more effectively and efficiently. And the thing that we're dealing with right now, that is the most difficult aspect of business that I've encountered yet, is death by a thousand cuts. I got one guy didn't fucking clock in on time. I got one guy that forgot epoxy. I got one guy that forgot a fucking tool. I got one guy that misplaced a fucking plate, or one guy that left porosity in a fucking beam on an exterior weld. And so, like, all of those things at face value in that one specific instance isn't a big deal. But the accumulation of all those things is fucking infuriating. And so it's like, and I had a football coach who used to tell me, take care of the little things and the big things will take care of themselves. It's the little shit that, like, oh, goddamn, I forgot this, not a big deal. But when I got 13 fucking people that all have a problem in one day, and you try your best not to come unglued on people for that, because you understand that they're just a small part of this huge festering wound. And so, like, and I had to bring Zach and Danny in and be like, hey guys, this is what's going on, because they're frustrated as fuck. And so, like, it was my responsibility as a leader to, like, take a step back and go, okay, what's actually going on here? What are we upset about? And it's like this heavy accumulation of shit. And it's like, okay, well, we need to put accountability onto the people that are doing these things. So now it's like, hey, if you forget tools, you already wasted half a day. You're fucking going home for the day. Like, getting your tools you need to do the job that you're doing. Fuck, dude. We give you the time in the morning to do it. Like,
mhm,
if you just forgot, and there's also this, like, I know you're big on systems, right?
mhm,
Systems. But I also think there is such a thing as death by systems,
mhm,
that there's can be an overload of systems that aren't utilized. So it's like your systems need to be kind of broad
mhm,
and encompass a lot of different aspects of what you're trying to accomplish. And so refining those systems down to where they're easy to use, easy to replicate, and whatever the fucking things you have for those systems
mhm.
are. But I was starting to realize that that was everybody's solution to everything. Well, we need to systematize this. So here's a new form to fill out. And it's like, is that really what we need? Like if sometimes the systems remove the human
Mhm.
equation. You're not a fucking retarded toddler, like a retardler. That's what almost came out. Like you got to use your fucking brain. The
Mhm.
system isn't there to hold your fucking dick for you while you pee.
I agree with you. And this is something that I always try to be careful with when I talk about systems because I don't want people to become system dependent. They need to be people dependent. And
Mhm.
I think that over systematizing removes the human factor. And so I am not a fan of over systematizing things. So I appreciate that you bringing that up because it's 100% true. You can go too far and you mitigate people's ability to make decisions
Mhm.
because they now blame the system instead of relying on the system to support their decision.
Mhm.
The idea of a system is it's a repeatable, scalable process that solves a problem.
Mhm.
That's the simple
Well, and
concept of a system.
hopefully the system solves multiple problems.
Agreed.
You know.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be singular. What is more important to me as the way that I think and what I truly believe, what is more important to me than systems is operational excellence.
Mhm.
And this comes down to the individual. It starts at the top with the leadership, it starts with culture. It does start with systems, standards, expectations, RREs, but all of that funnels all the way down to the individual. And the individual chooses whether or not to be operationally excellent. How well are you utilizing the system? How well are you utilizing the resources? How well are you communicating? How well are you training and equipping and weaponizing yourself to be the best operator that you can be? So, I'm a huge this is what I think is the most important ingredient in allowing systems to work is operational excellence. When people understand that, the second thing that they have to come face to face with is the accountability of the fact that I can't blame a system for my failure or my lack of excellence.
Mhm.
So, to me, operational excellence trumps the need for unneeded systems because once systems are used to micromanage, they're no longer effective, efficient, and easy.
Mhm.
They're just there to support the decisions that you need to make to get the job done. So
Right.
choose to be operationally excellent and the systems will work.
The system should be a guideline,
Mhm,
not an operator's manual. Like it should be there as like a broad stroke
mhm.
how to get things done, but you need to use your fucking brain while you're utilizing these systems.
Agreed. And it, my favorite system to always pick on is clocking in and clocking out.
Why is that such a fucking problem?
To me, it's the epitome of operational excellence.
Mhm.
I truly believe that clocking in and clocking out is the epitome of operational excellence. I don't fucking care how good you think you are at your craft. It does not make you operationally excellent. Doing the small things like clocking in and clocking out, performing and fulfilling your paperwork and the things necessary for everybody in the company to win and be successful, necessary for successful transfer of information, necessary for creating the best experience. When you put those in place, the craft is the easy thing. Like you want to show up and do your job. Well, hooray. That doesn't fucking exist. You
I
you have to be excellent at a lot of things.
Right. Yeah, maybe it wasn't really what we were looking for. Just we're not really looking. We do a ton of fucking badass custom shit.
Mhm.
If you're here to just show up and fucking make a check, get paid every day. If you don't take pride in what you're doing, if you're not pushing the envelope, probably not gonna make it here.
Mhm.
You know, it's that plain and simple, you know.
My best technicians by far were the individuals that showed up early every single day. I'm talking about without fault or failure. Every single day they showed up early to clean their trucks, restock their trucks, pull their work orders, review their jobs for the day, and made sure that they had everything that they needed. I didn't say that they were the best technical people that I had in the business, but they were by far the best technicians
Mhm.
because they understood and really embodied operational excellence. And they understood that the death by a thousand cuts, the other side of that is doing a thousand of the small things correctly and consistently
Mhm.
give you the big results that you want.
Yeah, and that it's hard to convey that to people that aren't in your position as well. You know, those little adjustments and those the when you take care of those little things, it it's like, you know, like you ever go into your kitchen and you go to fucking cook and there's a bunch of shit on the counters and it's just like it makes it that much more difficult to like comfortably operate within your kitchen and cook things. So you go through and you clean everything up real quick. Clean your kitchen before you dirty it up again, right? Sounds
Mhm,
counterproductive. But this is what all those little things are. It's getting rid of the clutter of the operational side of shit, all the mandated things that have to be done that nobody really wants to deal with. When you get that shit out of the way, it opens up the door for your operational excellence, right?
mhm,
And I it's one thing if you fucking forget to clock in once a month,
mhm.
whatever you or clock out, right? Like you guys were fucking busy, you guys worked late, you
Mhm.
guys were upside down in a muddy
You didn't have
hellhole.
service, right? It's like, "Oh,
Sure.
I didn't have service. I couldn't pull it up." Like,
Yeah. Something like that.
something. Mhm,
But when it's I mean, dude, we've had people that it was every fucking day. And then we had people that, you know, it's once or twice a week. And it's like, hey, like this is an operational failure on your
mhm,
end. And I tell them all the time, I'm like, this is literally the easiest part of your job. It's clocking in and out. It's- It doesn't get any easier than that all fucking day, you know? And so, like, if you can't even handle that, we need to have a conversation, dude. Like, what the fuck are we doing here? You know, like how how much are you neglecting the other parts of your job when you can't even clock
mhm.
in on time?
A lot of that shows up with maturity. When I was an early technician, my goal was to just be the best technician, be the best at troubleshooting, be the best with the skill. Like that was my primary focus. And I was really terrible at all of these other things. I hated filling out invoices. You got to remember back then it was pen and paper, right?
Carbon
Carbon
copies.
carbon copy, invoices, the small uh, policies and procedures, all of the things that allow for operational excellence weren't attractive to me because I had embedded my identity in trying to learn this one particular thing. It wasn't until late in my career when I felt that I had started to achieve some level of technical excellence
Mhm.
that I recognized that why is my van a fucking disaster? You go to a call and you don't have a part because you used that part yesterday and you didn't restock it. Now you look incompetent.
Mhm.
And for me, I just brutalize myself when I make mistakes like that. So maturing into the act of operational excellence is definitely a mindset. And once I started doing that, I literally would clean my service truck every Sunday. And that also helped me implement positive operational systems. So when we would debrief, is the call complete? Yes. Is your invoice complete? Yes. Did you collect? How did they pay? We would go through and on the debrief, what parts did you use? So we would make a note. These are the parts numbers or the description. By the end of the day, everybody had crates where someone in the shop would restock their parts for them in their crate. So the next morning, All they had to do was grab their crate, take it to the truck, and they had restocked everything they used the day before. Well, I didn't have that system coming up, but that system was a development of me trying to achieve operational excellence. And it's like, oh, how is this repeatable and scalable? And how can we set this up and now implement this? That's a positive system, right?
Mhm.
That helps solve multiple problems. So for me, the maturity of understanding and reaching and continuing to achieve to reach, I don't want anyone to think that I was this operationally excellent, superior in my thing. Like I joke all the time. I promise nobody will make more mistakes or cost a company more money than I did. So
Yeah. Yep. Same here.
same. But it's not about perfection. It's about that progression. And it's crazy when you do the little things, how efficient you become at the big things.
Mhm. No,
You're
I
just
mean, it
equipped.
does it sets the tone, it sets the pace for all the preliminary, if you're routined, if you show up in the morning, you have the same fucking routine every day. You do the same inspection on your truck, you do the same inspection on your equipment. You have dude, so the guys, they start putting together lists. We know what we're dispatching them for. So they'll put together a list of things they're grabbing from the shop. We have tool checkout lists for all the more expensive tools because we've had fucking TC guns up and walk off. Those things are $4,000 a piece,
Mhm.
So there's tool checkout lists. So they'll have me QC their list. Fuck yes, I will do that any fucking day of the week. Because if you don't have that shit, whose fucking ass is driving
Mhm.
out 10 goddamn bolts to you up in fucking Glenbrook that's an hour away? That's my fucking ass or
Mhm.
Zach or somebody.
And when you look at that and you look at the operational value of it, of a position, Zach has no business running to Home Depot to grab a tube of epoxy to take it up to Tahoe.
Yeah.
That's an
He's
hour
not
and
a
a half
gopher.
gone.
He's not a gopher.
Absolutely not. He is not compensated to be a gopher.
Right.
And the moment that you start utilizing company resources for your mistake and negligence, it impacts everyone.
Mhm.
So your lack of operational excellence is now negligence, and now you're costing everyone a lot of money, not just you, not just the company, not just production.
Mhm.
You have this ripple effect across the company, and if you have the same impact that it has on me, like I'm pissed off now.
Yeah.
Like
Right.
it's totally trashed my mental state
Yep. I
because
mean,
now I'm just a stupid piece of shit that forgot to load my truck this morning.
yeah. And I mean, when somebody's got if my superintendent is running out to go bring you fucking bolts or epoxy, that's his time. That's fuel. That is a lack of attention to the things that he was supposed to be working on. Like, I mean, like you said, that ripple
Mhm.
effect is massive over bolts,
Mhm.
epoxy,
Yeah.
whatever, because you can't do the fucking job without it. So somebody's got to bring you that shit. And it's like, then that's why we're to the point now where it's like, okay, if you needed this shit and you didn't have it with you, that means that you're probably sitting on site, kind of dicking around, doing some shit, waiting until this stuff shows up. So you've already burned up probably half a day at that point.
Mhm.
I'm just going to tell you to clock out and fucking go home and try again tomorrow.
Sometimes that is the cheapest option.
That's a cost effective thing to do.
Yes. It really is.
And that's the thing. Most of the trucks have multiple people in it. Well, I'm
Mhm.
holding both of you accountable. You both got the things together. And if the fucking truck comes back to the shop and you guys go home, that's on both of you. Sorry about your bad luck, dude, but it's not even that. It's operational incompetence.
Mhm. The morning, how you start your day, you talked about, kinda like rituals and habits and routines and those types of things, and all of those are necessary for operational excellence. Now, obviously, I don't work in the field anymore, but I literally don't know the last time that I felt rushed in the morning, simply because of the rituals that I've created for myself that allow me to have kind of slow, methodical mornings. I never get here feeling like I'm behind.
But I think that there's a fucking good what time do you get there?
Time do I get here?
Yeah.
Usually I'm here around 7, and most of
Oh,
the time my appointments are never before 8. So,
okay. Because I mean, especially now that I'm not drinking and I'm
mhm,
I'm on fucking whatever. I'm on 75 hard again. But I'm here at 5 a.m. I naturally wake up at 4.
Mhm.
I don't need a fucking alarm. I'm up at 4, shower, head over here. I get so much done from 5 a.m. to 6 a.m. And then that's when people start showing. Becca
Mhm.
gets here at 6. So I get to go over a couple things with Becca. Saxon here he's usually here around 6-ish. We get to go over whatever's going on for the day. Leadership starts showing up at 6:30. Crew starts showing up at 6:30. And then at 7, I go to the gym. Like while everybody's fucking panicking,
Mhm.
freaking out, and doing all like trying to ask me questions every 2 fucking minutes about shit that I don't
Mhm.
need to be answering, I go to the gym. Take off for an hour. Fucking you guys sort it out and you better not fucking be
Mhm.
here by the time I get back. You know? So like,
Mhm.
but that's like I think having the intuition to
Mhm.
see where your day gets manipulated the most,
Mhm.
like, and then structuring your routine around the outside influences to go, okay, once I start doing a bunch of shit I don't need to be doing and all my time is being wasted, I'm going to complete 180 that and I'm going to go do something very productive, like work out, and then come back after all the problems have been
Mhm.
solved because the people can solve them on their own. I'm just the easy
Mhm.
button, you know? But I,
Mhm.
I think being strategic about your routine and your schedule and understanding, and it's going to be different for everybody. Nobody runs their business the way we run our business. It's very
It
different.
is it's different.
Yeah. So like, but just having enough foresight to understand, like,
Mhm.
okay, here's these negative impacts that happen every fucking morning. Let me deal with my leaders that I fucking deal with, and they can handle everything for the next
Mhm.
hour and a half until all the trucks are dispatched. Pretty simple solution, right? And
Mhm.
it's just sticking to it. That's the hard part.
This applies for a single owner operator as well because you can't use the excuse, "Well, I'm doing everything by myself." The only reason I say that is, yes, there's time that you have to grind it out and you have to get shit done, and there are no excuses, and you have deadlines to meet. But you have to start evaluating even at a more intimate level of where your time is going, what you're doing, what are you feeding yourself, what are you fueling yourself with, what is your sleep like, how are you distracting yourself, what are your habits and routines and rituals. And this, a lot of people are going to disagree with me on this, but you have to create a start time and an end time, even as a single owner operator.
Mhm.
Otherwise, you open yourself up to everyone and everything to dictate and determine how you operate. Now, I don't care if your operation schedule is 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm not saying only work 8 hours a day.
Mhm.
What I'm saying is have a start time, have an end time.
Have a time when to turn it off.
That right there is going to help you operate so much more efficiently because you understand when you need to start, when you need to get done. Because most of us went to work for somebody before we had our own business. What did we
Mhm.
give you? A start time and an end time.
Right.
And you had that infrastructure, you had those expectations. And business owners, again, especially single owner operators, but business owners, we remove that from ourselves, and now we think that 24/7.
Mhm.
Like we have to be open and available and working 24/7 to make this successful. I have learned the hard way that if I had had more structure in the earlier days, my I don't think that the ROI that I got from working 14, 16 hours a day, 7 days a week, I don't think it was gonna be that I don't think it was that much faster. I'm just being honest.
Yeah, it doesn't working longer hours doesn't mean better results.
Thank you for yes, that's exactly what I was trying to say. I completely agree because the quality goes down.
Mhm.
You start getting diminished returns
Mhm.
and you start approaching burnout or rust out and you start having a negative relationship with your business. The other thing that that will allow you to do is when you do need to show up and push through, you can do it.
Right.
It's like I need to work through the night. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, I mean it's necessary sometimes. One thing that I've been trying to implement, but I need to be a little more cognizant of it is after 3:30, I only talk to my leadership. That's it. And when we talk, we're talking about what we're doing to advance the business and not what operations are. Because I mean, the guys work 410s. I'm in here 5 days a week, sometimes 6.
Mhm.
I run a little bit different schedule than they do. So it's
Which is
like,
fine, by the way. I think
well,
people
I'm
should
so
understand that.
fucking mentally tapped out at
Yeah.
by 3. So if I'm in here at 5 and I'm out of here by 3:30, mentally I'm fucking wiped, right?
Mhm.
And so I'll go get my outdoor workout in, and then I'll think about the operations throughout the day and like how we need to adjust things. And so I'm trying to make it to where the only conversations I have post 3:30 are with leadership, and it's about the advancement of the business, not the here and now. And it helps when I'm out on my outdoor walk and I'm listening to right now I'm listening to Buy Back Your Time. And dude, there's so much fucking gold in there. And it's like, if I don't have the conversations with my team right now, I'll forget about it. And
Mhm.
I'm not standing out there with I got a 30-pound vest on and I'm going for 2.5 miles. Like, I'm not walking around with a fucking notebook,
Mhm.
So I'll just call them while I'm on the fucking walk. I'm all out of breath and shit with my fat ass and trying to explain something in between the heaving. But I find that to be a much better usage of my post clocked in hour time,
Mhm.
you know.
Whatever you're doing, you need to make sure that 80% of your time is spent where you are most valuable in the company and where you add the most value.
Mhm.
If you are able to structure it out, I mean, again, small business, you wear multiple hats. A lot of the listeners in our audience in our community, they do the work. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not telling you guys to stop doing the work. What I'm telling you guys is be intentional about what you're doing when you're doing it and allow yourself time for these other things. Stop answering the phone in the middle of a project. You
Yeah.
you can call them back. We had that conversation with Charlie. And for the service-based industries, it's definitely a great thing, but there's so much opportunity now for either virtual assistants or AI or remote CRMs for people to answer the phone for you and at
Mhm.
least capture those clients on the front end so you can stay doing what you're doing. But
Mhm.
stop responding every time your phone makes a fucking sound.
Right.
You're stealing from the individual that you need to be in that company right now. And that's a very difficult thing to do because it goes back to the mindset of I need to be everything to everyone all the time
Mhm.
and I'm responsible for this business. I can tell you right now, if you returned calls twice a day, you'll be fine.
Mhm. Dude, there's like, if it's important to leave a message, especially if it's not a number you don't know, chances are it's fucking telemarketer. Uh, and then, dude, half of the fucking voicemails that I get, I go, "Hey Zach, I need you to handle this. Hey Becca, I need you to handle this.
Mhm,
Is it something operational? I don't need to be involved in that. I mean, I read your daily logs every day. I know where you got through the fucking project. I know I got my finger on the pulse of all the
mhm.
operations. I don't need to be involved. Like
Right.
this, you gotta like. I think we want to pass all that stuff through us, right? Because we're the owner. We're supposed to be the big swinging dick. Blah blah blah. Fuck that. But this is how you become the easy button by answering that phone all the fucking time. And I tell people when I'm selling our business to people, I just had a conversation with another custom home builder around here that does a lot of shit at Clear Creek. And I was like, look, the thing that sets us apart is this right here. And I held up my phone. I was like, we answer our phone. If I don't answer when you call me the first time, I'll get back to you by day's end. I will contact you or emails. We will respond to emails same day. But that doesn't mean I am going to be the one responding to you.
Mhm,
That means the right person is going to be responding to you. That might be the executive assistant. That might be the superintendent. That might be the foreman. That might be the dude in the fucking field with a shovel in his hand. If he's the one for the job, he's the one for the job. And that's especially over the last fucking 2 months, I'd say. That has been the best feedback that we're getting from our clients is our ability to communicate and that we can be reached. And we're not, there's some of these bigger outfits, dude, that are blowing people off for months and they're in contract.
mhm,
We don't fucking do that shit. You fucking need something dealt with. We'll tell you when we can get there. You're not going to dictate our schedule, but we will communicate with you on when and how we can accomplish these things.
mhm,
And I don't need to be involved in most of that. It's a time suck for me.
mhm,
I've got people that are more engaged in it and quite honestly better at it than me.
mhm.
My job is to be out in front. So, And once I sell it to them, is that like, hey, we will get back to you,
Mhm.
not I will get back to you. You know, and it also shows that we work as a fucking team. So for the sales pitch, they like to hear that everybody's on the same fucking boat. You know,
Right. And there is a point during the process of that job where you are not the best person to solve their problem.
Mhm.
Your superintendent or your job foreman or somebody else is. We had got to a point operationally where I was not only did I not do it, I was literally not allowed to schedule. I was not allowed to put people on the schedule
Good.
because 100% of the time I screwed it up.
Uh-huh.
And nobody likes it when a client calls in and says, "Hey, Josh said somebody was going to be out here this morning between 8 and 9." And then I get a knock on my office door. It's like, "Hey, did you tell Mrs. Jones we were going to be there?" And I'm like, "God," right?
Oh, dude, I've done that so many times.
And so that responsibility was happily removed from me.
Mhm.
I was no longer allowed. My team disavowed me from from being able to put anything on the schedule that wasn't for me specifically.
Mhm.
I was not allowed to schedule anybody else in the company. So when I would get these calls, and sometimes in the beginning, some of the contractors were a little bit irritated, but I would tell them, I said, "I'm not going to give you a time. I'm going to have Mama D call you anyway.
Mhm.
So don't call me when it's regarding the schedule or the arrival of our technicians. It's
Yeah.
either our install coordinator or our service coordinator, which was Mama D." I said, Depending on what's going on, like you need to talk to these two people. I literally don't have the authority
Mhm.
to do their job. That
Wait,
is
aren't
not
you the
my
owner?
role.
Yeah, that's still not my job.
The owner's not a role. My
Yeah.
role in the company was basically COO, right? Operations. And no, I didn't have the authority. My role did not have the authority to run the schedule.
Mhm.
And that was amazing because I didn't have to worry about it. It was
Yeah.
being handled by someone that could do it 100 times better than me.
Mhm. I think that's such a hard thing for us to get over is I love it when people are better at shit than me. I
Mhm.
fucking love that. Like Becca, dude, that fucking woman has just stepped up to the fucking plate and handled shit that I didn't even know we needed to be fucking handling. You know, something that
So she's
we were completely devoid of a fucking safety program, you know, and she came in and I don't know if I should say
yeah.
that on the air, but oh, she's gonna
You're
get a hold of that one.
you're in line now, but
Yeah. Well, she's got her OSHA 30.
mhm,
Like she fucking spent a whole week fucking getting that thing hammered out. And she's like, I feel like if I'm gonna handle the safety program, I need this. Fucking go ahead.
I get it.
Yeah,
Administratively, she's better at everything than you are. That's how you build a successful
absolutely.
team.
Yeah. So I just kind of like I put meat and potatoes and I hand it to her and I get this 4-page fucking detailed description of shit. And I'm like, I didn't even know we needed to do that, but okay.
Mhm.
Like, you know, that like our scope letters are so much better now. You know, I'd put in there like structural installation. She like broke out the linear footage of beams and amount
Right.
of columns and all this other shit. And I'm like, God damn. But I mean, I'm training her on estimating as well. Because, dude, just for if she can take over all the takeoffs, that
Mhm.
is the biggest time suck in estimating. The rest of it I can put together just through experience, you know.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's operational excellence.
mhm,
When you have somebody that embodies that and represents that day after day, that operational excellence, they stand out, and it's frustrating to me that they're considered outliers. They are, but if everybody else would just strive to do better and understand their level of operational excellence and then grow to improve that, the outliers wouldn't look so amazing. Everybody would look amazing.
mhm.
There's
The
just
bar has never been lower.
God, I know.
It is so easy to be a rock star right now.
I know. Very, very frustrating, but the other side of me sees it as opportunity.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
see it
for
as
sure.
opportunity to win
Yeah, I mean, you can
because
either
it's
get
never
upset
been
about
lower.
it or yeah, you can either get upset about it or capitalize on it, you know?
And capitalizing, ready, set, go.
Mhm.
That's exactly how I see it. And I think there's so much opportunity for industries. to capitalize on that. And what's interesting is a lot of the time it comes down to the quality of customer service.
Mm-hmm.
That's the dictating factor right now.
Yep.
That's the elevating factor right now. Is it doesn't matter how good you are at your job, how good are you at navigating the client and
Mhm.
capturing the client and communicating with the client. You get really, really good at that, the rest will follow.
Mhm. Yeah.
But everybody's like, I know we're the best framer. I know we're the best house builder. I know we're the best welder. I know I'm the best HVAC guy.
Yeah,
Doesn't
but
fucking matter.
everybody hates you. So
Yeah, right. Right. Like you're good at one thing.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Well, that's the thing. You can get a nutless chimp to show up and swing a hammer, but communicating, that's where the skill is. The skill is in communication, and that's
Mhm.
at every fucking level of the trades, whether you're the
Mhm.
fucking greenhorn or whether you're the CEO, president, whatever. Like you have to communicate if you want to be successful. And you can see it in people. I was thinking about it the other day too. Like, as we're talking about operational excellence, it's like, do you ever notice how you can just tell when somebody puts the fucking work in?
Mhm. Oh
Like you
yeah.
don't even have to meet the motherfucker. It's like you'll see a dude from across the bar. He's like 5'6", but the way he stands, like he's very, I'm like, I could pick that dude up and fucking tear him to shreds, right? But he's confident. And I'm like,
Mhm.
okay, cool. I mean, good for him. I'm glad he's confident. And then you go over there, and the motherfucker's got cauliflower ear. And it's like, okay, that's what it is. The work, though, but the work
Yes.
shows
That's
up
right.
in the way that he stands,
That's right.
the way he presents himself. I'm like, real recognizes real. You can't bullshit your way through
Mhm.
being a doer, not being a doer. You know what I mean? And so you can see it the moment you fucking meet people, whether or not they're legit and they're
Mhm.
fucking into it. Like it becomes part of your aura when you do the work,
Mhm. That's right.
and you can spot them a mile away.
Yes, you can. But
There's that
real
pattern recognition shit
th
again.
th there is, but real recognizes real, like you said.
Yeah.
And if you don't recognize it, you're not on that level.
Right. Yeah.
You if
If you
I
can't
mean,
see it, you ain't there. Yeah.
if you can't see it, you're not there, and that's just
Mhm.
the truth of it. When yeah, that operational excellence stands out. It is in behavior, it's in posture, it's in confidence, it's in everything that they do. Everything that they do.
Mhm.
It's not you don't clock out of it.
Right. It's always on.
It's always on.
Mhm.
And as exhausting as that gets, it's
No, but not,
it
you wouldn't
has
have
to
it any
be
other way though.
no,
Like,
you
what else you gonna
absolutely
do?
not.
Yeah. Go be a drunk ass and
Mhm.
fucking just be a piece of shit.
Yep.
Been there, done that. It's not that
Been there,
great.
done that too. It's not way overrated.
Yeah.
It's only easier in the moment. That
That's
is it.
about it. Yeah.
That is it. The occasionally you and I will receive a message or an email,
Yeah. Sorry. I
and
kind of fucking took
no,
over on this podcast.
no,
So,
no, no, no. This I
yeah.
think it's an excellent tee up because everything. If I would have started this in the beginning, we would have covered everything I think that we did
Mhm.
because the necessity of operational excellence is there. And we had a guy, I won't share his entire name. His name's Joel. Mainly because I don't want his owners to think that he's trying to leave them and start a business, but
His owners. What?
or his employers,
Okay.
um, his slave trade,
Yeah.
um, his employers. But anyway, so you and I, we got this message from Joel. I sent it to you, and he was very complimentary, over complimentary, but he has an interest in starting a business. And his question was, how do you take the leap? How do you go from employee to employer or from working for somebody to being an entrepreneur? And everything that we've talked about is in line with our response to that.
Mhm.
You and I also have a bunch of hindsight and things that we would have done differently. And first and foremost, I mean, I will tell you 1000%, my operational excellence has to be in check. So
Mhm.
if you're thinking about starting a business and you're not disciplined and you're not getting up early and you're not laying your fucking clothes out the night before and you're not in control of your finances personally and you don't have a budget and you don't understand all of these things as an individual, you have no business going into business.
Mhm.
You can stumble through it like we did. We did all of those things. We didn't do those things till late.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, if you're looking at making that leap, one of the things that you just have to do is evaluate yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Are you committed to this? Are you tough enough to do what it's going to take? Because it's going to be harder than you think.
Takes a lot of grit. It is way harder than you think, and is way more painful than you think. I had a buddy hit me up a couple years ago. It was last year. Actually, his name's Ben. And he's like, "Hey man, like I know you own a business, and like I'm thinking about going out to business for myself. Like, what are your opinions on that?" And I go, "Business ownership sucks for the first 5 to 10 years. You're gonna be exhausted, you're gonna be poor, and you're gonna be frustrated. After that, it's okay.
Mhm,
It's okay. I don't think that it's every day is a new challenge. It depends on the type of person you are. But there's plenty of days where I just want to be able to clock out and go home,
mhm,
and it don't fucking work like that. It's always on, you know. And I like it,
mhm,
I enjoy it, but I also think that when I hear a lot of people talking about moving from operations to ownership, I think the biggest thing you need to do is ask yourself why. Why do you want to get into ownership?
mhm,
Why? And 90% of the time, it's going to be some superficial fucking response. So my boss is a jackass. I can do it better. Uh, fuck. I mean, I want more money. I want more freedom. I want this or that. And it's like, you're going to fail.
mhm,
If that's your response, you're going to fail. If you want to bring something new to the market, if you want to bring customer service to the market, you want to bring operational excellence to the market, if you want to serve the people that work for you, because that's what ownership is really.
mhm,
It is serving your team, setting them up for success.
mhm,
And if you can't make that a part of your why, I would say don't.
mhm. It definitely has to be a selfless act.
Yeah.
It can't be a selfish act.
Mhm.
Not the act of owning a business. There's plenty of selfish acts that are necessary to be a good leader and be a business owner, but the act itself of owning a business has to be selfless
Mhm. Yeah. I think
because you go ahead.
we started for the wrong reason. We started because we were pissed off at our boss, and we got lucky that, well, I got lucky that I actually enjoy this.
Mhm,
I got lucky that I have the mind frame for it, that I have the tenacity, and that I once I put it in perspective that I'm here to serve everybody else, it made business ownership the right thing for me. So I think you need to have that conversation with yourself prior to getting into it.
mhm. One of the notes that I made just in brain dumping this question and this answer was, these are the words I wrote down. No one will understand you.
No, never at any point. Stop trying to fucking get them to. Even other business owners, they won't. We're all doing it our own way. Nobody's gonna understand you, so quit trying to fucking force it, dude.
There's a sense of aloneness, right? You ostracize yourself at some level when you decide to go into business ownership because of this. No one's going to understand you. No one can see your vision. No one knows why you're doing it. Why would you leave the comfort and security to go out and take all of this risk where 80 to 90 depending on your industry, up to 90% of the businesses fail in the first year. 60% of those fail in the first 5 years and 4 or 5% of them are left in 10 years.
Mhm.
The odds are against you.
Yeah.
This is like gambling at the casino. The odds are on the house.
Mhm.
The odds are against you that you're going to fail. Knowing the statistics doesn't make you any smarter.
Mhm.
You just need to understand that whatever you think it's going to take, it's going to take more time, more money, more resources, more grit, more blood, sweat, and tears. Anything that you think you have laid out, it's going to take more. I don't care how well your plan is. You need a plan,
Mhm.
but whatever that is, it's going to be harder and it's going to take longer and it's going to take more.
It's gonna hurt so much.
So much.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's, I I think it's easy to discourage people from business ownership, and I'm not saying don't do it. That's not the point I'm trying to make. I'm just make sure you're the type of person that should
Mhm.
be an owner. And dude, if you're not the type of person that should be an owner, go find a good operation to work for. Be a fucking monumental asset to that operation. And dude, the freedom you think that you're acquiring with ownership, the money you think you're acquiring with ownership, I'll tell you right now, it's not there for the first 5 to 10 years. And even after those 5 to 10 years, there's a level of maintenance that you have to obtain in order to make that shit stay that way. And you have to be very intelligent, you have to be crafty about it, and nobody is there to hold your hand to show you the fucking way. And it's a ton of risk. I mean, not only do you risk losing the entire business, but you're going to have your own personal finances tied up in this as well. So it's going to affect your family. It's going to affect, everybody that you know.
Mhm.
And are you willing to take on that? Are you dedicated enough to do that?
Mhm.
You know?
He did not ask this question, but I think some people and maybe too many people try to make ownership singular. What I mean is someone may say, "Well, what's the one thing that I need to know to start a business?" The one thing that you need to know is there's not one thing that you need to know. You need to
Yep.
know a lot.
Yeah, right.
You need to know and understand financials. You need to know and understand leadership. You need to know and understand operations. You need to learn and know how to sell. You need to know how to negotiate. You need to know how to have conversations. You need to know how to communicate. You need to recognize systems. There's not just one thing. And you're not going to learn all of these before you start a business. And you're not going to learn all of these in the first 5 years that you are in business.
Mhm.
But if you trap yourself into being singular, you will not succeed. There's not one thing that makes this possible. Now, there's an idea that I think is accurate is you build a business to where you can operate more singular. Where do you add the most value and where are you most valuable in the company? That's because you're not an owner anymore. You're not trying to operate as an owner. You have a role in the
Mhm.
company that you just happen to be responsible for. Now you get to take a little bit more singular approach in the day to day based on your role, but you still have all of these other responsibilities as an owner, as a visionary, as a business planner, as a leader that you still have to take care of. So it's never singular, but if you can build a business, if you're lucky enough to build a business where you can spend a majority of your time doing the thing that you love, that's a win.
Mhm. Yeah, and I mean that was a big part of that buy back your time, you know, doing the things that you are capable and competent and actually enjoy doing. Like there's this really stupid thing we do as business owners where it's like everything needs to be our responsibility. We need to take it all on and we are horrible at these very critical parts of business operation, whether that's finances, whether that's bookkeeping, whether that's legal. We are fucking horrible at it, and we feel like we need to put ourselves there because we're the owner. That's not how this works, dude. You need to
Mm.
put people in the right fucking places, and you need to do things you accelerate at. Also, another point to be made is that if you've been in an industry and you've become extremely proficient at that, and you are very fucking good at what you do, understand you're not going to utilize those skills anymore. Those skills will not get you anywhere
Mhm.
while you are running your business. I
Mm.
used to
It's
be a
a f-
badass pipeline
Mhm.
welder. I don't fucking weld anymore.
It's a
I had to learn
fraction.
it's a whole new set of skills, dude. Everything goes
Well,
right out the fucking
yeah,
window.
I love that you said that because one of the factors that people don't take into consideration when they get really good at what they're doing is the environment. They're really good at doing that thing in the environment that they're in.
Mhm,
Once the environment changes, especially when you go into ownership, that
mhm.
formula doesn't work anymore.
Right.
You don't just walk over and grab a cut wheel. Now you're responsible for the inventory.
Mhm,
You don't just go to a job site and call the shop and, hey, we need this. No, now you have to go handle it.
mhm,
When the environment changes, the ability for you to maximize your skill set changes.
mhm,
So you may be really good at what you're doing, where you're doing it, and how you're doing it, but one variable change in that equation, different result.
mhm. I spent 20 years building a skill set that I don't fucking touch anymore. You know? And can you swallow
I
that?
know.
You know?
Right.
And that's the thing that a lot of people can't.
Mhm.
You know, you can build a business around you being a badass fucking fabricator and welder, but that means you need to hire the right assistants, you need to hire the right superintendents, you need to hire the right CPAs, lawyers,
Mhm.
all that kind of shit. If you want to still continue to be out and doing the work and setting the pace and doing those kinds of things, you can put other people in those positions, but your ego is going to have a really fucking hard time letting you do that. Well, it's my name on the
You.
company. Okay. Okay. Congratulations.
Well, as a single owner operator, one of the first hires that you need to make is a bookkeeper. You've got but you need to know what that cost. And that's, if doing a startup, obviously it's not going to be perfect. You're going to have to make projections, but you really need to be intimate about understanding how much is this going to cost to operate this business? Not for you to do your job, for this entity to live and thrive. How much is that going to cost? And you've got to get to a point where one of your first hire should be a bookkeeper, not an in-house bookkeeper. Could be a virtual assistant or it could be a third party company like I use
Mhm.
where it's X number of dollars a month. Well, that's an easy factor for me to do math on. So you have to be able to build yourself in a position to delegate that thing. When you're looking at the financials, and I've got a friend, the him and I coached him for I don't know, maybe 2 years. He was he was one of my absolute favorite clients. His name is Matt. He's got a welding forging company, does a lot of custom stuff. Awesome guy. He side hustled his business for 7 years before he went full time.
Shit.
7 years he side hustled it because he understood. He actually started getting coaching for me right before he went full time.
Shit.
So he was investing, but he understood that he needed to move laterally in his finances as close to flatlining as he could. So he built the side hustle up enough until his revenue, his take home revenue, his income, he could move laterally as close as he could. Now it wasn't a perfect straight line. He took a pay cut in the beginning only because the capacity of time was against him. He didn't have any more
Mhm.
hours to give to meet that, but he had opportunity to get it. But I think that's a question. So how long are you willing to commit to this to make it real?
Mhm.
And by the way, he's Matt, the guy I'm talking about. He's fucking crushing it now.
Mhm.
Crushing it now. He's doing amazing things with his business. Him and I still talk. I consider him a friend. But what's your plan to make money?
Mhm.
That you have to have some sense, an idea of a plan. How are you going to make money? Well, I'm going to go do work for money. Well, I'm going to start charging $50 an hour. This, you guys, I think started at 75 or $80 an
75.
hour.
Yeah. We're at 140 an hour now.
That's my point, right? Is you've got to recognize what the market will allow you to afford and don't come in on the bottom.
Mhm.
But do you have a client base? Are you building this side hustle to turn into something real? If you're going to leave a company and go cold start and then hope people call, that's dangerous.
Yeah, that's what we did. I think we're just lucky. That's all. We're just lucky.
Lucky.
That should have blown up in our face. Looking back on it, luckily we were as naive as we were. Because if we would have understood the gravity of the situation, we would have never made it.
Mhm. See, we had the opposite effect. I had 10 years or so of reputation in the area that we started the business. My business partner had 20 some years of reputation in that area. Our first year together, we broke $1 million in revenue, which is unheard of.
Damn.
But we didn't come from a cold start.
Right.
We had an enormous client following,
Mhm.
enormous, and then we just compounded on that and hired, and then we hired, and then we hired, and when we focused on creating the best experience, customer service, communication. There's no way that had I moved to a different area again, you and Matt didn't pipeline in Northern Nevada.
Yeah,
You
no,
were
we had no client base up here.
no client base. To do that for 2 guys to leave and do a cold start is also unheard of.
I think it's all based on our looks. We're just that attractive. People want to do work with us.
Obviously. I mean,
Yeah.
that was my first thought.
Yeah.
Like, share, subscribe. Here's my 99 cents a month.
Should be lucky if I get that.
Uh, but you have to know again that some understanding of the financials and what it's going to take. And if you're looking at doing a startup, you need to start asking some questions. Get bids for insurance. What's general liability going to cost?
Mhm.
If you have to pay workman's comp as an owner, what's that going to cost? What's
Mhm.
payroll look like? You've got to have relationships with vendors because there's most likely everything's going to be COD out of the gate. So you're going to
Mhm.
have this money to buy your shit, or you're going to
Nobody's
end
going
up
to give
putting it
you
on
a
a credit
credit
card.
account
No,
right out of the gate. Yeah.
no.
They'll give you a
So
fucking $2,000 credit card that'll buy you dick.
that's
Like
it.
you ain't buying shit with $2,000.
That
Not in
is
this
it.
market. Yeah.
No. But there's a lot of things that you need to know. Now, the flip side of that, and the final point that I want to make on this is you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be persistent.
Mhm.
Don't make
You
a
don't
perfect
have
plan.
to. Yeah. You don't have to get everything done. You just got to know how to get everything done.
That's right.
Yeah.
So your plan doesn't have to be perfect, but you need to have one. And you
Mhm.
have to understand that going into this, you're going to experience things that you didn't see coming.
Mhm.
I don't give a shit how much you plan, you're going to get blindsided.
Oh yeah. You're gonna get fucked up, dude.
You'll get your head taken off,
Yeah.
and the better prepared you are at navigating yourself is going to determine how you navigate those conversations and those situations. And so ultimately for me, so much of this boils down to the individual. That anyone can start an LLC, literally
Mhm.
anyone. But starting an LLC is easy. That's not a fucking big deal.
Mhm.
You are the determining factor in the success and failure of your business.
Mhm.
So you have to take a good hard look at yourself, your habits, your behaviors, your maturity, everything that surrounds your skill set, that the one thing that you think is going to make you successful in business.
Mhm.
You got to look at everything else. How do you talk to your spouse? That's a
Mhm.
determining factor in your success in business.
Yeah, I do because I'll tell you right now, your fucking clients are gonna piss you off just as much as your spouse does.
Mhm.
And if you fly off the handle at your fucking clients, especially dude, if you're in a small town, everybody's gonna know about that real fucking quick, dude.
That's right. So there's a lot. I encourage people to evaluate, and if you're going to make the decision, commit to it. Burn the boats,
Mhm.
right? If you give yourself an out, you'll take it. You've got to commit to this, and if it and accept the fact that you might fail.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are afraid of failing and going back and being like, "Well, I tried it and it didn't work." Who gives a shit?
Mhm.
You fucking tried. Everybody else would rather sit on the bleachers and sidelines. Oh, I wouldn't have done it that way.
Mhm.
I wouldn't have made that decision. You've never been off the bench.
Yeah, the man in the arena, dude. Yeah, fuck the
Right.
critics. Be the man in the arena.
That's right.
And it's like it sounds cool and glorified, but once you understand what it takes to be the man in the arena, most of you'll be scared off by just that.
Mhm.
Everybody wants to cheer and clap for you once you made it. They didn't see the fucking shit sandwiches you ate along the way, you know? And then no matter how good you do, you're still gonna have people talking shit. You're still gonna have people that are
Mhm.
putting you down, running your name through the mud because they don't, like we said before, nobody's gonna understand you. You got to make decisions that are best for your company, that are best for your team, best for your home life. You got to make those decisions, and it's not convenient for everybody else when you make those decisions.
That's right.
So you got to be able to just let that shit slide off your back, dude.
Mhm. When you start a business and you make that decision and the critics do show up, what that noise really is them saying to you that they don't see themselves doing that. Has nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It has everything to do with them. And it's
Mhm.
them saying that I don't see myself doing that or being able to do that. So that fear feeds their ego and they chastise you or criticize you for doing it.
Mhm.
That's why the critic doesn't matter.
Yeah. Get fucked, cunt. Nobody cares what you think anyway.
So hopefully, Joel, that either
That was a
encourages
very
you.
that was a very roundabout podcast right there. So
It's all right. A lot of times our organic conversations are our best conversations.
Mhm.
Um, now, the sales pitch sign up for the boot camp. If you
Yeah.
like, if you want to be equipped, sign up for the boot camp.
Mhm.
The boot camp's $247 a month. It's a 12-week program. You have the option of canceling at the end of the 12 weeks. So that would be $741. If you don't have $741 to invest 12 weeks to learn how to learn ground level tactics of a business,
You got bigger problems, bud.
yeah, it's just
Yeah.
a lot more things you need to consider.
Right. And I mean, I can speak to this because we've been in it. And Zach and Becca just went through one yesterday.
They just started.
Yeah, they just started. And dude, they fucking both came out pumped on the other end and be like, holy shit, like I understand this so much better now. You know, like you guys talked about accounting and delegation. Becca got a ton out of the accounting. Zach got a ton out of the delegation. You know, the mastermind, or he's as he calls it, the mega mind. He's sitting in the other room right now.
So great.
But yeah, but they both came out fucking pumped. Like the information is there, and it's like you don't know what you don't know until you know it, you know, and that's the difficult part of business ownership. Like these things like this boot camp and the masterminds, like you'll realize shit that you're like, I never even thought that I needed to fucking deal with that. It's like, and then also here's a path on how to deal with that. You know, it's not just oh, hey, here's all your problems. It's like, here's problems and solutions, you know,
and the community, you know, the Blue Collar Insiders that Greg and I created is a marriage of trader. Jesus, I tried to marry him, and that's apparently what we're calling it, of true pros and the tradesman experience. Traders. The people in there are people that you can communicate with, that you can relate to, because they're in a similar situation, fresh startups or been in business for years. There's a wide variety in a wide variety of industries, but they all experience the same good and bad shit.
Right. Yeah.
Doesn't
Yeah.
matter what the
We're all
work is.
getting our asses kicked, dude. So.
That's right.
Yeah.
So that's my plug for the boot camp. Our next one launches in April. It's we don't run them on open enrollment. And I had a question about that the other day. We don't run them on open enrollment because if you come in a couple weeks later, you're behind.
You missed a lot of shit.
You missed a lot. You missed Q&As, and now you're trying to catch up and asking questions that we addressed, and now you're slowing everybody down. So we don't have open enrollment. We have enrollment periods for these for people to get in. So the next one will be available in April. But Nate, happy Friday. Good to see you, bro.
Yeah, you too. I'm going golfing with Ken and Zach
Awesome
today. So
Well,
yeah, we've all been pretty fucking high tension lately. So we're gonna go out and play a little whack fuck and see if we can't frustrate ourselves even more.
Well, in 30 minutes, I have a meeting where I'm trying to close on an acquisition. So
oh, all right. Well, my day sounds better than yours already.
Yeah. Less stressed anyway.
Yeah.
We'll see how that goes, and that unfortunately will determine my afternoon of what we're doing. But anyway, go play golf. You can find Nate on Instagram at Nate Newton 87. I am on Instagram at The Tradesman Experience. Emails thetradesmanexperience@gmail.com. Websites thetradesmanexperience.com, and the YouTube channel The Tradesman Experience. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. Get out there, get shit done. Be proud to be a tradesman. See you.